Why you should be reading this book every single day. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill is the #1 book that I have read in my entire life, and I read books every single day for at least the past 1.5 years or 2 years. So, why you should read this book every single day is what I'm going to teach you today. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to go through a lot of the contents of the book. Also, which I think is even more important, is my experience with the lessons taught in this book. I have applied as much as humanly possible that I can from this book every single day in my entire life, to the point that I think I'm confident that I will give arguably the best review that you will ever see in your life. Let's get started. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I'm a very big fan of Napoleon Hill. I've read his other books of 16 Laws of Success or the How to Outwit or Outwitting the Devil. Both of them are good. But this one is way better than both of them. And I would say such a good indicator of that is because I read it literally every single day. Literally. I deleted it off of my phone, literally on purpose, to make myself read other books, new books. And every time I find myself, I download the goddamn book and I read it. I don't reread the entire book, but I reread chapters. Let's say as an example, this chapter, well, it's about, let me see. Well, they're not saying, but I assume it's about imagination. So how can you actually use the imagination faculty of your brain, and how does your imagination faculty actually works? No, it's actually a chapter about specialized knowledge. The best, probably one of the best chapters in here. The book is about 13 chapters. Not a lot. Very good. Now, I'm gonna divide this to probably about 3 parts. The first part I'm gonna talk about, stuff in the book. Second part, I'll talk about my insights that I figured out only from rereading the book again and again. And third, I'm also give my first-hand experiences, which I think is important. The book talks about a lot. So the idea of the book is this Napoleon Hill guy, he actually studied over 25,000 people and in the US at that time, and to figure out what does the most successful, the most richest people actually have in common and do in common, most importantly, that the others don't. And that's the idea of the book. People say, it's not actually mentioned directly in the book, but people say, and I'm pretty sure it's very known, that who hired Napoleon Hill, it was Andrew Carnegie, who's the richest man in the world at that point. Later he became the second richest man, but nevertheless, he was pretty much the richest man in the world. If you don't know Carnegie, he's also the guy who written How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, and he also the guy who wrote the book of How to Win Friends and Influence People. This is where Andrew Carnegie, who was the richest man in the world at that time. He was in the steel business. Now, Think and Grow Rich analyzes a lot of the big characters. As an example, we have the first one that comes to mind is Ford. Ford is, it's not only analyzed, Napoleon Hill has analyzed the shit out of Ford in this book. 2, Thomas Edison. I'm pretty sure he met him as well. 3, obviously Andrew Carnegie and those guys, because that was pretty much his friend. And also another person who I forgot his name, but he's also was working with Thomas Edison. No, with Thomas Edison. He was a Norman man, and he actually became the partner of Thomas Edison, and he explains how the story of him is a pretty good story that if I have the time, I probably will mention it as well. The best chapters that you can probably read, I'm not going to look at the summary because I know that by heart. One of the best chapters that you can read, personally, I mean, as a first read, you just go through them chronologically. There's nothing better. I'm not going to lie. The first, you're going to there's a lot of concepts that are so foreign to you in the first read. And that's why I have to reread it again. Because in my first read, I felt like it's gold and my hand couldn't grab. So every time I go read, I'm like, well, now I can only grab 1 bar of gold each time. So I have to come back and come back and come back again and come back again and come back again. As much as humanly possible. I mean, for me, the case is every day. So I try to grab as many gold bars as humanly possible. That's how big it is. You cannot really grasp it in the first read. So he talks about, at the beginning, he talks about the unconscious mind and how our unconscious mind is something that most people aren't really paying attention to, but actually it's way stronger than our conscious mind, the logical mind that we make decisions and we think and we memorize things. It actually talks about how actually way powerful our unconscious mind than our conscious mind. I mean, one of a good example or symbolization of that or proof of that, our unconscious mind never fucking sleeps. I mean, if you're sleeping and the door opens, some motherfucker wants to come to you, you're waking up ready, you want to fight. How? Why? Oh, I heard it. Okay. That means you're not dead. Okay. Then what's working? Your unconscious mind. You're not consciously sitting there and you're like, well, let me look at the door and see if someone's there. No, you're sleeping. You're unconscious. That's the point. You're unconscious. And that's how your unconscious mind works. That's how powerful it is. It never sleeps. It explains how if this is so powerful that even it works while you're sleeping, you have to capitalize on it. And that's the few chapters of the book. How to use your unconscious mind, how your unconscious mind actually deals and changes because of the people you're around, in the environments you're in, the ideas you feed, the emotions you feel, the things or phrases you repeat to yourself. A lot of that is very explained so beautifully in the first few chapters. So that is important. You have to read that. Then, I'd say get to the parts that are. I mean, for me, I would say they are very heavy, in terms of the content, just as much as the first chapter. The first one is the one that we saw is specialized knowledge. He talks about how specialized knowledge is the only way to win. He analyzed 25,000 people and he realized that the people who makes the most money are the people who have specialized knowledge instead of the people that know everything. And he also, I'm pretty sure he used the phrase of the jack of all trade is exactly, it's a master of none. And he says it's extremely true, especially when it comes to making money, to becoming rich. Nobody cares about the person who knows everything. Oh yeah, he knows everything. No. They care about the person who's the best in the world at one thing. Pronto. Not to be good at everything, no. Just be good at one thing. Be really good, the best in the world. Right? I mean, I don't know what I'm thinking of Michael Phillips now. But Michael Phillips did it. That's why he did. I mean, Michael Phillips wasn't good at everything. Elon Musk isn't good at everything. He's the richest man in the world. He's not good at everything. I mean, have you seen him talk? He's not a very good talker. I mean, he is a good talker, but he stutters and he says and he has some weird communication skills that maybe there is some people who you could say that they communicate better. He's probably influential and probably I have to rethink this statement, but let's just, okay, easy example. Elon Musk is not fucking fit and strong. He doesn't have abs. So he's not good at everything. Can do sports and run and play football. So you can't really be good at everything, so might as well just be good at one thing and do it fucking good. Be the best in the world at it. That's the point of the book, the first point of the book. Second point of the book, specialized knowledge. Then he talks about Mastermind Alliance. So Mastermind Alliance, he says all of these successful entrepreneurs, and especially with the fact that now you know that you need specialized knowledge. Let's say you have specialized knowledge in how to print books. It's not going to be enough for you to write the book, print the book, and upload the book and make people buy from it and actually deliver it. So you need other people. This is the importance of mastermind. You need to meet with these people that are also the best in the world. You're the best in the world in printed books. This guy in the best in the world in writing. This guy in the best in the world in writing the title. This guy in the best in the world in actually shipping. This guy is the best in the world in designing, right? And you meet with them and you talk, you exchange information. This guy talks about this guy talks about that, and you exchange information. People are saying bullshit, da-da-da. And then he explains how when the minds get connected to each other, your knowledge becomes one. So when you are together, you don't only know how to print. You know how to write, print, design, choose colors, and ship to people. Let me say it again. If you are alone, you only know how to print. But if you are with your mastermind alliance, with your group, with your specialized knowledge group, carefully chosen, the best in the world in their chosen field, now you don't only know how to print, but you know how to write the title, how to design the cover, how to choose the colors, how to ship it to people. Now you have a perfect business. That's the second point of the book. Very important, or third point, if we're actually counting the unconscious mind as well. I mean, here's a picture of Napoleon Hill, if you're interested. I'm not interested, to be honest. Anyway, moving to the third point, or fourth point, third point. I mean, third point, these are just subsections, whatever. It's be definite. What definite means? Definite means, let's say you want to print the book. You want to make a book. You have to be definite of what book you want, how do you want the book, when do you want the book, what do you want from the book, what's the results, what's going to happen, literally everything. Then be definite in the plan. What the fuck are you going to do to print the book? Okay, I'm going to talk to this guy, got this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm actually work on the title first, then work on the content, then the colors, then the print, then the shipping, and then I'm going to see if the actually shipping has actually arrived and call the customers and see and actually make sure that everything is, all the money I'm gathering, and make sure how I can actually supply more and produce more and actually market more or whatever. It's like you got through the process. As detailed as it gets. The more detail you have, the better it gets. Because if you just say, I want to print a book, I mean, yeah, bro, sure. Everybody wants to print a book. But if you say, if I want to print a book that is 255 pages, the color is green, the title is Think and Grow Rich, Sher, let's say, change the title a little bit, Think and Grow Richer, and you want to print it in your house. So, and the date is the 22nd of February 2031. And you want this guy called Paul to write it for you. And this guy called Jane Jones to actually make the title for you. And this guy called Paul Jones to make the title for you. Or the design or colors, whatever. Then it's more definite. In the plan, you're like, okay, by January, I have to make the title. By February, I have to talk with Jan Jones. For Mars, I have to talk with Danny Paul. And you go. The more definite you need, the better. Also remember, there's another statement that goes with that, which is fear always exists in the vague. Once you see and you know what you want, then you just have to execute it. And he says such a good idea behind this. He said, let's say you made the plan. You made the plan, and it's 22nd of February 2031 has arrived, and you're like, fuck, I haven't achieved what I wanted. Then what do you think is wrong? It's the plan. So you'd make another plan. Because the execution was right. So once you make the plan, you just gotta make it fucking right. You just gotta execute on it. One of the biggest ideas that he talks about late in the book, he closes with, he talks about the 6 basic fears. And he talks about people are afraid of death and ill health and loss of loved ones, etc. He talks about this, and he gives you fear of criticism. He gives you a lot of examples about them and how you actually overcome them. I mean, here's an example. I'm gonna actually read a paragraph. The fear of loss of love. The original source of this inherent fear needs but little description, but because it obviously grew out of man's polygamous habit of stealing his fellow man mate and his habit of taking liberties with her whenever he could. Jealousy and other similar forms of dementia praecox grow out of man's inherited fear of the loss of love of someone. This fear is the most painful of all 6 basic fears. It probably plays more havoc with the body and mind than any of the other basic fears, as it often leads to permanent insanity. Then he goes on with symptoms and how to cure it. He talks about all the 6 basic fears, and he talks, which I think, I love this. He says, the number one reason why people fail is because they're afraid. There's three components that always go hand in hand: fear, indecision, and doubt. Usually when there's one, there is the others. You're afraid of making a book. Why? Because you haven't decided if you want a book or if you want a movie, to make a movie. And you have doubt because you don't know if you're gonna make a book, is it gonna sell? So you doubt that. The opposite of doubt is faith. I have faith that if I'm gonna make this book, it's gonna sell 1 million copies. The opposite of indecision is decision. Well, I have to choose between a movie and a book, I'm gonna make a book. And the opposite of fear is obviously bravery. Although I'm afraid, I do it anyway. And for me personally, this hits me a lot. So now I'm gonna stop talking about the book and I'm gonna give you more of a first-hand experience, which I think is probably the most important, honestly, of this. Because everything I said, you can probably find out of ChatGPT. But what I'm gonna say now, you probably can't. I mean, obviously everything that I said, you won't find in ChatGPT because of the way that I explain things, and obviously it's my explanation and my understanding. It's not ChatGPT just copying whatever text and words are in the book. This is actually my mind looking at it and interpreting the results and giving it to you. But my first-hand experience, I think, is what matters the most. So while reading the book, I pretty much applied everything in the book as much as humanly possible. When I'm afraid, I do the brave choice. When I am indecision, I am decisive. I became more decisive than ever. And the reason why I reread the book, because you always can do more. You're decisive, but you can be more decisive. You're brave, but you can be more brave. You have faith, but you can have more faith. Sometimes you have a little bit of doubt. You need to have more faith. I'm definite with my goals and plans, but probably can be more definite, right? I have specialized knowledge, but sometimes probably can have more specialized knowledge, right? I have a circle and a mastermind alliance, but maybe it can have a better mastermind alliance. That's why it's important to actually reread the book a lot of the times. The way I do it, I don't reread the book, an entire book. Usually what I do, I have it on my phone. So look at the summary. I don't know if the copy here is at the beginning or the end, but I look at the summary and the summary has all the chapters. And I look at it and I just read them and always one of them hits. I'm like reading, indifference, the importance of specialized knowledge. Desire is the source of all monetary equivalence. Faith, the transferring points of knowledge. Specialized knowledge, got the point. I read it. And always one of them, I'm like, I knew I need something. It was this chapter. And obviously when I read, I always try to apply as much as humanly possible. Now, one of the biggest advantages that I got from the book is understanding the first chapter that I almost skipped for you is the unconscious mind. I think I use that more than anything else because I truly believe, and obviously he started with it in the book, it's probably the most important thing in the universe. That's it. I think it's the most important thing in the universe. I truly believe that it is the most important thing in the universe. It is the unconscious mind. And the way he explains things, he goes even further and deeper, and he talks to you about different ways and different manners of understanding it that I might not be the best to explain it to you because it talks about unconscious mind and energy and vibration, whatever, that you gotta read the book. It's a lot of details. But I truly believe that just by being with certain people, I act a different way. And I'm gonna give you a good example, man, so you know that I actually do apply this book. This year, I had my thesis graduation project, and I was choosing the people that was with me. One of the people that I had the opportunity to work with was a girl. She's the only girl that I worked with, and she's probably one of very few girls, probably one of two girls that I would have worked with, and accepted in my team. So I had this opportunity to work with her, and she's the first in the class. She's very good at college and getting good in class and ranking and, getting good grades. I said, okay, well, it's good. And before, a few years back, I always had these opportunities a lot. But I always thought that I can only get the most use out of it is of asking questions of, hey, how do you study? How do you learn? How do you prepare for exam? But no, for this entire year, I haven't asked her, not even once, how do you study? How do you prepare? Have you taken any notes? Give me your notes. Give me your PDFs or your lessons. What do we have in the lessons? Nothing. But I know that probably I'll be the most number one person that has benefited from her. Not because of anything she said or did, just by being present with me. And I know this sounds crazy, but it is true. When you are with a high performer, you become a high performer yourself. It's just the truth, man. The 5th semester, which is the first semester this year, I was 4th in the class. 6th semester, which is the last semester this year, I got 5th. It's the best rankings that I got in all my college, university. I didn't ask her about how she studies or her notes, nothing. I just was with her. And a lot of the times we weren't even going along with each other. We weren't talking a lot. We generally weren't talking. We had a fight, whatever. But I knew I was getting the highest ROI, return on investment of my time with her. And I was probably benefiting the most just by being around her, or she being around me. And that is something that I never understood until I read this book. Your unconscious mind works in various ways we don't understand. Have you ever was walking and you feel like someone's looking at you and you look and you find him? Or you're walking and you feel like something's coming, you look and you know? How do you know? The book explains how that is your unconscious mind, something that you cannot explain. And after I read this book, I truly believe this because I look at it from a first-hand experience. I'll give you another example, man. Last weekend, which is 3-4 days ago, I had a meeting or a conference, whatever, with the biggest content creators in Morocco, and they were talking. When I had to choose a seat, I chose the seat that I was next to them. In the first part, I was next to them, I was behind them, I was here, he was here, and he was here, two biggest fucking content creators in Morocco. Second part, because other people were performing, we were in the same line. So I was here, one guy was here, one guy was here. There was all the lines was just content creators. Just by sitting around them, I knew that I was better. I was thinking differently. I was handling myself differently. I'll give you another example, man. My older brother. I went to a vacation with him last summer. I didn't went with him. He invited me. Basically, I was just following him. And he gave me this opportunity that I was with him. When I am with my brother, I move a certain way. I almost as if I become more like him, right? And that is the power of the unconscious mind. The research that has been done, you can search this up, that says if you are in closer than 25 feet of a high performer, your performance improves by up to 25%. And if you are in the zone of 25 feet of a low performer, your performance drop up to 30%. Just by being around, not talking, not doing the same job. And that's how, this is why people, they spend a lot of money to go to the most expensive gym, or they sit in areas where there's a lot of expensive people. I'm pretty sure you've experienced that. You sit with certain people and you start thinking like them. Something about you changes. I know all about that. Right now, I'm not living in the most luxurious of neighborhoods. I live in a very poor neighborhood. As an example, I go to study German, I go to one of the richest neighborhood in the city. I go to the American Center here in Oujda, Morocco. And sometimes I go take a looks. Brother, I move it differently. I mean, I'll give you even more examples because I think this is just important. I usually study German in different libraries, depending on the day, depending on what opportunities they have, and if it's a holiday and what libraries are open. Some libraries close, there's other libraries that are open, some libraries are better than others, so preferences and times, whatever. If I study in the general library, I think a certain way. If I study in the American Center that I am in right now, I study or think a certain way. Here's where it gets tricky. If I study in the mid-school library, I think a certain way. And if I study in the engineering library, which I studied in yesterday, I think a certain way. None of them is the same. All of them is different. For me, which one's the best is it's the mid-school library. Because when I look, everybody's high performing, man. I am in the library, and the library mid-school is full of people. And the only time that it wasn't full, it was in holiday, and I was there, and probably people didn't even know it was open. But mid-school is filled, 200, 300 people at least, every day. And you go there, and you know everybody's in mid-school. Everybody's a high performer. And obviously you have interns and residents and doctors and professors also study in there. So everybody studies in there. I'm a nurse. And I think differently. I mean, even people, how they handle themselves, bro. I was going to say how they open their laptop. Everybody opens their laptop the same. But their laptops and their notes and their notebooks are different from engineering faculty. Engineering, don't have none of that shit. They have one computer, nothing else. And they're not wearing any good clothing. They're wearing good clothing, but they're wearing like, I don't give a fuck clothing. Mid school, no. They're wearing something like this, something formal. Everybody's presenting himself in a presentable way. They're confident, their shoulders is good, their body language is good. They're studying, they're taking care of themselves. They look actually good, their hair is good, their face is good, their beauty is good, everything's on point. I mean, they're everything, right? They have highlighters, they have colors, they have notebooks, different notebooks, they have an iPad, they have a computer, they have a PC, they have an iMac, they have these colors. And it's not even about that. When you stay with them, you feel like you're one of them. And it's not feeling like one of them. You start thinking differently. You start thinking like a mid-school student. You're like, what? This is hard. Do you think these motherfuckers don't think that what they're doing is fucking hard? So I might as well just shut the fuck up and get it fucking done. That's just what it is. And it can go on. I mean, I've sat with professors and my mind becomes like professors. I sat with business owners and my mind becomes like a business owner's. And as I said, you don't even have to talk to them. I mean, I am in a library. Do you think I talk to anybody? You don't say nothing. Sometimes, I mean, in the American Center, sometimes when I'm going out, I say like this to the librarian who works there. Sometimes. Sometimes I don't even do that. They don't even give a fuck. They don't even look at me or whatever. Or they're closing the windows, whatever, because it's time to leave. And that's just how important your unconscious mind is. So important that you pay attention to the energy that gets to you. And this includes the people around you, what they talk. I mean, I've fought just with so many people so many times just because they were negative. I'm like, keep your negativity fucking away from me, bruv. Why? Because I have read this book. I understood how negativity can fuck you up. And when I read this book, I actually made another video about this, so I'm not going to go in depth about it. It's a very old one, I'm probably not going to find it. I don't even know the title of that video. But I don't want to go there because it's a very negative story. I don't even want to think about it or talk about it. Basically, I failed in college because it was negative, to be honest. Because throughout the college, I didn't have faith. I was always, maybe even if you study all the time, if God doesn't want you to win, you're not going to win. Fuck. Why would you say such thing? So negative. But I say now, even if you don't fucking study anything, if God wants you to win, you will fucking win. That's who I am. That's God wants me to win. Positive. You know what I'm saying? Even to yourself, even to people. Because what you say is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because what you say is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because what you say is a self-fulfilling prophecy. I'll stop it here. This was Think and Grow Rich, my most favorite book. I read every single day. I recommend you to read it every fucking single day. Watch this video 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fucking every day. 800 times until this becomes like a second nature to you, like it becomes in your unconscious mind, deeply rooted, that you don't even think about it. It just happens and you work with it with your unconscious mind and your positive thinking and mastermind alliance and specialized knowledge and this and that. You don't even think about it, it just happens. Subscribe.